and I removed a square patch of skin extending from basically my knee to almost my balls, which, by the way, I haven't burned, but the hair, I'm not kidding, I told you in the description and in the titles that this would be very, very fucking graphic. My ball hair was burnt off. So I didn't burn my balls, but it was very fucking close, because all my ball hair had gone. I had done a Brazilian, if you will. So that was nice. That was kind of shit. But the story doesn't end there, because I'm in the shower. My right hand is completely burned off. 2nd degree burns on my hand. 2nd degree burns on my feet, on my left foot, of which, by the way, I have removed all the skin as well by myself. And 3rd degree burns from there to there, on the inside of the thigh. And same thing, I removed all the skin there and then in the shower. Well, innocently, I guess. At that point, I was still thinking I could handle it myself. In full honesty, I was still thinking, it's a flesh wound. I'll just put cold cream on it and I'll be fine. Which is a stupid thing to think, obviously. So I call the so in France we have 3 numbers for emergency services. We have the cops number, we have the fireman number, and we have the medical emergency number. And keep in mind also that in France the firemen, they do pretty much everything. Like if you sprain your ankle in the street, you're not going to call the emergency medical number, but you're going to go call the firemen, because they're going to come and pick you up and bring you to the hospital. But being that this was really medical, I mean, it has nothing to do with anything, I still decided, and this is, keep in mind, about 20 minutes after I burned myself, so quite a long time, I decided to call the medical services. So I get a lady on the phone and I tell her, well, I burnt my foot and my hand and my right thigh, and the first thing they ask you is, yeah, with what? And then I said, well, open flames with alcohol, because the treatment is completely different whether it's chemical burned or. And then she asked me, right, what's the surface of the burn? And I'm like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 hands on my thigh. And she's like, well, you can go to the hospital by yourself, sir. And I'm like, in a totally innocent way, I'm like agreeing with her. Because at that point, remember, I'm still, well, first of all, the adrenaline is still pumping, and I'm still kind of, thinking it's not too bad. Which it was. But so yeah, so I just follow her advice, and picture that I have 3rd degree burns on my leg, 2nd degree burns on my feet and hand, and I dress myself up. I put a pair of jeans over the legs, I put socks over the feet, and I go. And I go all the way to my car, which is in a car park, and I spend like 10 minutes trying to find the closest hospital, which I didn't know what it was, and then I start driving. And at that point, the pain on my feet and leg was really okay, but the pain on my hand started being terrible, because I still had nerves on my hand. It was the lightest burn I had, and the pain. I put the AC of my car to the max, and I put my hand over the air vent, but that didn't help. And so luckily, and I don't believe in God, but this was a very lucky coincidence. 800 meters after leaving my car park, I see a fireman truck, and these guys are waiting for something. And I later learned that they were actually waiting for an old woman just to transport her from point A to point B, because these guys do these services here. They're really the heroes of the nation, to be honest. They're excellent. They'll do. It's not their job, but they'll do it anyway, you know. And so I go see them, and very innocently again, I show him my hand and I say, listen, I've got burns and it's really hurting now, and you know, if you give me something for the pain, then I can go back to my car and continue driving to the hospital, which is crazy. Now that I think of it, it's like crazy stuff. And so the guy tells me to get in the truck, which I do, and come on, these roads are supposed to be fun. Well, you know, with that traffic, I'm like 100 leaning here. So I get into the truck, and the guy, at first, he's kind of concerned by my hand, and he hasn't seen the rest of it. And then he asked me, do you have other burns? And I say, yeah. And then I remove my clothes, and I remove my socks. And the guy's face just changes. It goes white, pale white, and then, you know, he closes all the doors of the truck, all the doors, and then he turns the heater of the truck on at full maximum temperature. And I learned that afterwards. It's because I was kind of in shock, and I was hypothermic, because when you have a burn of that size, your body struggles very hard to maintain its body temperature. So I was hypothermic, in shock, still talking, still okay, but you know, borderline basically. And then, you know, it closes everything. He called the cops. And he had the fireman truck escorting me all the way, not to the closest hospital, but to the military hospital in Paris. Well, actually, in the southern fucking hell, what do you call it? Suburban areas of Paris. He had me escorted by cops all the way there, and I got to hospital. Finally, you know. And as soon as I laid down in the fireman truck, I started shaking, because I'm guessing the adrenaline dropped, and then I started realizing that actually this, fuck me, senseless, I just got a rock on my fucking face. I was starting to realize that maybe this wasn't so benign, and that's it. They brought me to hospital, and I had about 3 weeks recovery, 2 of which I couldn't even walk. The pain was so immense that I couldn't walk. I have a bad feeling about this. Yeah. Biker down, people. Fuck me. This is sad. Anyway, I don't really feel, after seeing that, I don't really feel like continuing my story, but basically the recovery was very long, and yeah, and you know, the first time they leave your leg in cream under bandages for a week, so that your body kind of recuperates a bit of feeling there, and you know, starts protecting itself again and does not infect. But they can't treat anything. They just have to leave it there in cold cream and just wait for it to you know, to come back to a certain level. So they did that, and after that first week, they put disinfecting cream on the wound for the first time, and they gave me diazepam, which is a military grade painkiller. Remember, I was in a military hospital, and I can honestly say I've never felt pain like the burn. The pain I felt during the burn was nothing. It was nothing. I've never felt pain as hard, as strong, and as harsh, and as debilitating as what I felt when they applied disinfecting cream on my leg. I can honestly say that, seriously. It was... I couldn't sleep, I felt like someone was crushing my leg in a vice. Again and again and again and again and again and again, and I couldn't do anything about it. And I wanted to scream, but you know, as soon as I got up, I could stay up about a minute, and then the pain would become so hard because all the blood would go back into the new veins and arteries that would have been created because they were recreated by the body, and because the blood was rushing down when I got up, the pain intensified. You know, it was already impossible pain while I was sat down, but then the pain intensified when I got up, and I couldn't stay up more than a minute or so, about a minute, before I actually started fainting. You know, when your head becomes very, very light, and then you just start seeing stars and stuff. That was happening, and I couldn't stay up more than a minute without fucking fainting. And then, you know, after that night, the pain disappeared and my leg started healing. It only took about a week for new skin to cover the whole thing, and there were spots of 3-degree burns that warranted me having bandages for another week, which I wore, you know, at work and stuff. And at work we have an infirmary where they can do your bandages and stuff, so it was okay. And I recovered, but now I can't put any sunlight on my leg for about a year, which is going to be a problem in Como, by the way. I'll have to put like really tough cream, like 70 index sun cream on it, so that it really takes, you know, full protection. And yeah, it's going to leave scars obviously, but you know, it's the inner thigh, so it's not too bad. And most of you guys that I'm talking to have scars from other stuff. We all have scars from other stuff. You know, I've never broken a limb. Knock on wood, but I've never crashed. But I did burn my leg. So we all have our thing, I would say. Anyway, this was a very long story, probably a 2-part vlog. But hopefully an interesting one, and you know, lessons learned. Don't use fucking alcohol. Don't play with fire. Well, use fucking alcohol to drink it, not to burn it, and yeah, don't play with fire, and you know, because it's all